All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Anthony Smoak. Go ahead and check me out on anthonysmoak.com. Definitely hit subscribe here on YouTube. As always, if you learned something, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you leave a comment so you get a notification when I drop a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Anthony Smoak. So today, back in the basics here. So I know I do a lot of follow me with respect to dashboarding and doing dashboard builds and things of that nature, but I'm getting back to the basics today. Today's video is top 10 functions in Tableau that you need to know. So if you're just starting out, you need to watch this video. I'm not going to talk your ear off here in the intro. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so let me start by showing you where I get the data to perform the lesson that I'm going to show you here. So a lot of people like to ask, where do you get the data from? And so when I do these things, usually I'm using Superstore, or you really don't need the data set that I reference. You can use it on your own data set, but I'm just going to show you here, basketball reference. You can see the link here, and I'm using 2020, 2021 NBA player stats, totals. And, you know, when you go here to share and export, let me scroll up here a little bit. You can get as Excel workbook, or you can get table as CSV for Excel. Either one. I think I did the table as CSV for Excel and imported it into Excel. So this is the data set, right? Here's the link. And then if we go into Excel, this is what the data looks like. Again, I may have imported this into Excel from CSV, right? That's how to do that's another video. And then I also created this NBA team info. So, you know, pause the video right here. You can create this this data set the old-fashioned way. I needed some dates, so the founding date. These aren't the exact founding dates. The year is correct for the team, but the founding dates, you know, the exact dates are not. But I just needed a different representation of dates. So I put the founding date in there, and then I put the most recent championship in here. Again, not every championship was on January 1st, but the year is correct. So this is the data set. If you want to follow along, this is what we'll be working with in Tableau. So let's go ahead and pop over to Tableau. Okay, coming in at number 10 is the trim function. The trim function returns the string with leading and trailing spaces removed. So if I were to grab the team field from NBA Stats 2020-2021, not from NBA Team Info, you'll see that I have some bad data quality in here. I got some leading and trailing spaces here for the team, and that's because I purposefully put myself in as a player in the NBA. You know that's bad data quality. 25 years of age, not so much. And so in the team, I put ATL in here with leading and trailing spaces, and I just have nulls all the way across just to show you, you know, we can have some bad data quality and how to correct that in here. Obviously, you want to correct bad data quality at the source, but just for the purposes of demonstration, what we're going to do, I'm going to create a new calculated field, right? We'll just call it, you know, for lack of a better word, underscore team. And we'll wrap this around the trim function, hit enter. Whoops, hit OK, I should say. And let's bring that over. And here, let's bring this first. You'll notice, right, ATL looks good. Leading and trailing spaces removed. And obviously, that refers to both the clean ATL and the bad data quality ATL. So if I take that out, right, I would have just ATL here. So that is the trim function. Again, you want to clean up data at the source, but again, this is just to show you how the functions work. Coming in at number 9, ZN function. So the ZN function returns the expression if it is not null. Otherwise, it returns 0. So use this function if you want to show 0 values instead of null values. It's kind of comparable to the isNull function if you know SQL very well. So let's take a look here. If I were to bring in blocks, and let's go ahead and make this discrete. and let's bring in at a player level as well. You'll see for me, with my bad data quality, I don't have 0, I have null. I want to show a 0 here for blocks, right? So what I will do, I'm going to come down here. We're going to create a calculated field, and I'm just going to wrap this in the zin function. And we'll just do something like this, underscore BLK, say OK. Got underscore BLK. If I bring that in, and I'm just going to make this discrete, you'll see my underscore ZLK, I have a legitimate 0 here, right? So real data have a null, underscore BLK, I have a legitimate 0. So coming in at number 9, that's the zin function. Coming in at number 8 is the contains function. Contains returns true if the given string contains the specified substring. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to go up here to player, and we'll do something like this. We will create a calculated field, and I'm going to wrap this around contains. Whoops. I have caps lock on. It doesn't matter if you have caps lock or not. All right, I can type. So player, we're going to put the player as the first argument, and substring, let's find all the Anthonys. And so just to show you that it is case insensitive, I'm going to go all caps here. We're going to close it out, and we'll just name this underscore contains. It's going to create that. And if I bring that over here, and let's also bring it into the filters, and let's just filter on the trues. So where are my fellow Anthonys? So these are all of the Anthonys in the NBA, whether it be in the first name or the last name, because we're looking in the players. So obviously there's me in my delusional dreams, but we got Anthony Davis on the Lakers, Anthony Edwards out of UGA, Karl Anthony Towns, really good Anthony's here. Cole Anthony, son of Greg Anthony from UNLV championship team 1990. And Carmelo Anthony as well, obviously a future Hall of Famer. So if I want to get all of those Anthonys together, I would use the contains function in the manner that I showed you. Coming in at number 7 is the split function. Split returns a substring from a string using a delimiter character to divide the string into a sequence of tokens. So what does that mean? So let's try and set this up. First, I'm just going to keep all players here. Let's get rid of all of this. And goodbye, Anthony's. Let's get everybody in here. So let's say I wanted to break up the player from the ID here. So what I could do, I could have the player full name. So I'm going to go into player, or I'm going to create another player ID. Let's go ahead and create a calculated field based upon the player here. And so I'm going to wrap this in the split function. Split. All right, so the first argument is the string. Great. So what's the delimiter? We're going to split on the slash character here. So I'm going to do one of these, and it's this slash and the token number. So when I make that split, let me move this over here. On the slash, the tokens will be the full name. Full name will be the first token. This ID, for lack of a better name, will be the second token. So I want the first token. So we're going to split on the first token. If I just wanted this ID, I would do the second. I would do 2 here as the argument. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's do underscore full name. You can also put negative in here too. If I wanted to start from the back, I think I could do a negative 2. But here, let's test this first. Say OK. Let's bring the full name in here, and you'll see we just have that full name without the ID. So split is a useful function here. Let me go back in here and let's play with the negatives. If I went, let's say I went -1. Will that give me the first? Will that just give me the ID? It will, because it's starting from the back. So I can say -1. -2 would give me the player. So I'm just going to go ahead and Control Z out of that to get that full name. And that is how you use the split function. Number 6 is going to be the upper function. So let's say, well, the upper function returns a string with all characters uppercase. So let's say we're looking at full name, but you know what? I want everything in uppercase. So I can go in here to full name. Let's go ahead and edit it. And then I'm just going to wrap this around upper. And calculation is valid. Let's say OK. And you'll see my full name turns to uppercase characters. So again, useful function to know. Okay, at number 5, we have the replace function. Replace searches a string for a substring and replaces it with a replacement string. If that substring is not found, then the string is not changed. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to bring in team from the higher granularity NBA team info. Let's go ahead and put that there. And let's go ahead and filter that as well. So I want to take a look at only, let's say, OKC. OKC, young team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, really good. And then the rookie, I forget his name. If I see it here, I will remember. And I can't recall. Regardless, what we want to do here is replace OKC. Let's pretend that you are a disgruntled Seattle fan, right? Because they took that franchise away from Seattle and they moved it to Oklahoma City for whatever reason. And so we're going to go in here. We're going to make a change. So let's go ahead and do an edit here on this team. Or I'm sorry, we'll create a calculated field. And, I don't know, we'll call this team, doesn't matter what we call team 2, right? So we're going to wrap this in the replace, if I can spell, replace. So we have to give it a string. So we're going to feed it the team from our NBA team info. And then what is the substring that we are looking for? We are looking for OKC. And we're going to move this team back to Seattle. SEA, say OK. Mikey likes it. Calculation is valid. I say OK. Now if I go in here to or bring in team 2, you'll see we have SEA here. So I'm just going to get rid of that, the original team. And then I don't need the filter anymore. And now if I bring in team 2, say none, and it should be SEA in here that I could filter on. And so now, like a proper Seattle fan, I can see this team with that Seattle designation. Shout out to Al Horford, who was on I did not know Al was on OKC, longtime member of the Atlanta Hawks. So big shout out to him. Okay, before we get into the number 4, I should say the rookie I was looking for was Josh Giddey, and he wouldn't be on this roster because he comes into the league a year after this roster, but really good player from Australia, youngest ever in the NBA to record a triple-double. So shout out to him. Anyway, number 4, we're going to talk about date add. So let's go ahead and let's get rid of all of these fields here. Let's get rid of our filters. And so I'm going to bring in the team. And from the NBA team info, I want that higher granularity. Let's bring in most recent championship. And, some of these teams have not won championships, so get to work. I would say this year, Phoenix has a good shot at it. Phoenix, out of the teams that haven't won a championship, Phoenix has a good shot at it. So you'll notice down here, my most recent championship is a string. So let's go ahead. In order for our date function to work, it's got to work on a date. Or I could wrap it around the date function, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to change the data type to date. And that way our date function will work on it. And let's go ahead and create most recent championship. Let's create a calculated field. Call this MRC, most recent championship. And this is going to be date add. Wrap that there. And so what is the date part? You can have many different date parts, and this has to be lowercase, right? You cannot use uppercase here. For the date part, you could have week, you could have year, quarter, month, day of year, day, so on and so forth. But we're going to use month because we want to add 2 months to our most recent championship. Again, just to show you that we can. So we got month is the first argument as the date part. The interval is going to be 2 for 2 months. And then our date is most recent championship. So if I close that up, calculation is valid, say OK. So now when I bring this in, it should add 2 months to this most recent championship date. If we did this correctly, which I'm pretty confident that we did, let's go ahead and bring that in. And we've got to change this. Let's go to exact date. And of course, it's going to do all of that. And I want to make this discrete, not continuous. And you'll see it has added the 2 months. And so I've got this time. So let's do one of these, most recent championship, just to make sure. If I change data type, it is, all right, so it is date. What I could do to get rid of that time, I'm going to go into the function that I created and make sure that we're going to change that data type to a date instead of date and time. That gets rid of our time. So we see MRC2 is our most recent championship with 2 months added. So that is the date add function at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the date diff function. So date diff returns the difference between 2 dates expressed in units of a date part. So what does that mean? Let's go ahead and bring in our founding date. And again, I like to have the exact date here. We'll do an exact date. It's going to make it go haywire because it brings it in as a continuous, but we'll make it discrete just to make it a little easier to look at. And you'll see I have a founding date and our most recent championship, right? Let's get rid of underscore MRC that we created. And so let's say I wanted to know the number of, not years, let's say the number of days between the founding date and the most recent championship. And so you'll notice some teams don't have championships. So we'll have to do something to account for that. All right, so let's do this. Let's create a calculated field. What do we want to base it off of? We'll just do this, create calculated field. And here is the function, date diff. And so I want to know the number of days. So we'll go lowercase days between which 2 dates. So founding date, right? And most recent championship. Let's close that up. And then I'm also, what doesn't it like here? It doesn't like must specify a date part. Oh, I think it's day. So again, you got to be really careful with this. It's day instead of days. There we go. And then I'm also going to wrap this with the ZN combo. So if there's a null, I want it to show 0. And then let's just call this date diff for lack of a better term. And let's bring our date diff in here. And we will make this discrete. And you'll see that it returns the number of days between my founding date and the most recent championship. So, thousands of days here. And where we don't have a most recent championship, we get a 0 instead of a null. So it's a nice, elegant way to handle that by wrapping the Z in around it. So date diff coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is the date trunc function. So date trunc will truncate a specified date to the accuracy specified by the date part argument that you feed it. It's going to return a new date. So if I wanted to basically back up, reverse, right, or truncate a date that is in the middle of the month, at the month level, it's going to return the first day of the month, right? If I'm at the week level, I could back up to the first day of the week. if I'm at the year level, I'm going to back up to the first day of the year. So it's a way to like reverse. It's time travel, right? So let's show how that works. Let's use it on the founding date here, and let's make sure that our founding date backs up to the first day of the month, right? So this is useful. Let's say, you've got a ship date in another data set, and your ship date always has to be the first day of the month. So you'd use something like the truncate date. So let's go ahead and get rid of some items here. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag them both out here. Oops. I'm going to hit Control Z. I want to keep my most recent championship date and get rid of the date diff. So now on our most recent championship, let's do something like this. We want to back this up. No, not most recent championship. Founding date. Let's back that up. And let's go in here and get the exact date. And you know the deal. We got to make sure it's discrete. There we go. So on our founding date, I want to back this up to the first day of the month. So if I'm showing 9/9/1948, I want to have that be 9/1/1948. So let's go ahead and founding date, do one of these, create calculated field, and for lack of a better, founding date. And so let's use a date trunc function here. So we're going to go date trunc. What do we have to feed it? We have to feed it a date part because I want to back up the actual date to the first day of the month, right? Let's go ahead and put in, again, lowercase month, and then founding date. Now, if I was doing week, I could put in an optional argument for the start of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, but we're not going to do that. This should back us up to the first day of the month, this new founding date. Let's bring it in here just to show you. And if I go down here and show the exact date, and we do one of these, let's go to discrete. And obviously when I create it, it goes to date time. As we learned before, let's go ahead and convert that to change data type to date. And you'll see all of these are backed up to the first day of the month. All of these should be 1. Obviously, we have a null here for this. It's not a real team total. But you'll see very handy function for backing, reversing time to some specified interval. So that is the date trunc function. Okay, so my number one function, drum roll please, is ATTR. It's one of those functions where you start using Tableau, you're like, what is this? Why would I ever need to use it? What does it do? So it returns the value of the expression if it has a single value for all rows, otherwise returns an asterisk. Null values are ignored. And I've got a bonus function I'm going to show you after this, but let me show you how ATTR works. Let's go up here to worksheet and let's clear the sheet. And I'm going to go down here and drag city to my rows. Actually, let's get rid of, I'm going to go in here and I want to get rid of the total. Say OK. So now I just have all of the cities and I don't have totals. Let's drag our full uppercase name here, full name. Let's go ahead and put this first so I can see. If we take a look here, I've got Aaron Gordon. By the way, if you don't know who Aaron Gordon is, go ahead and look up the 2016 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. And he showed out. He's got some hops. So go ahead and watch that video after this, then come back to my channel. So anyway, Aaron Gordon last season played in Denver and Orlando. And so you may look at this and say, hey, I need the data at a 1-to-1 level, right? I only want to show one city per each person, but I don't want to misrepresent the data. So what you could do, obviously, min function. And I didn't include min, max, count, kind of basic functions in my top 10, but there's the min. It's going to show you just Denver, not Orlando. But that kind of misrepresents the data because guess what? Aaron Gordon played for 2 cities. Likewise, if I were to change this to max, it would show me Orlando. And I would lose for all my other players. I don't get to see who played on multiple teams during the season. So if I change this to ATTR, right, you'll see I maintain my 1-to-1 one player to city level of granularity, but I have this asterisk. So I'm not misrepresenting that they only played on one team. I'm saying, hey, this player, Aaron Gordon, played on multiple teams. So did Al-Farouq Aminu, Alex Lynn, so on and so forth, Andre Drummond. They played on multiple teams. So that way, when I bring in, let's go, 3-pointers, I can maintain this level, right? Steph Curry made a lot of 3-pointers during the year. I can maintain this kind of one-to-one. So, Norman Powell, Gary Trent Jr., Vucevic, they played on multiple teams, but I can have their values show up at a constant grain, at the same grain as the full name, and it makes my bar chart a lot easier to look at. Whereas if I just showed, let's just back out and only have city. Does it like us? Oh, it didn't take that out. That's all right. We'll just go city here. Will it back out the ATTR? There we go. So now when I look at a player, let's go to Norman Powell here, Portland and Toronto. I don't want to show two separate items. I could go Control Z here, ATTR city, and I'm at that same grain, and it makes my bar chart nice. Obviously, I could format this to make it better. So that was my number one function, but I'm going to give you a bonus function here. We're going to do something. Actually, I can create it in here. I'm going to cheat. Index. And let's change this to discrete. Put this first. What index does just gives me that kind of ordering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, obviously, that's affected by multiple items in the visual, but for our purposes, if you just want an accounting or an order of values, you could just throw in the index function, right? And one thing I like to do, here we'll do this. We'll do it the old-fashioned way here. If I go up here, create calculated field and just say index, you can do it this way, right? Say okay. We've got index. I'm going to put that here. Well, obviously I have to put it at the end first until I go discrete. Put it here. Get rid of this index. Obviously the same thing. But what I can do is I can change go to default properties, number format, custom. And if I put in a period here, it puts that little period there at the end. I kind of like that little formatting. So just a little tip there. Anyway, that's a bonus function. So again, this has been Anthony Smoak. Wanted to show you 10 functions that you need to know if you're just starting out with Tableau. Please go ahead, give this video a like, put a comment down there if it helped you out, and please share with someone that you know that is just starting their Tableau journey. So again, it's been Anthony Smoak. Get out there, do some great things with your data. Thanks for watching, everyone.